What's up YouTube, Loki here, and I'm guest narrating for Luna. And she is defending her fighting type gym against, I'm gonna say Juan from T-Flare. Anyway, he leads off with the Tauros, she leads off with an Infernape, and he gets some Intimidate off right off the gate, but she goes for the Fake Out. Anyway, you know, because that's what all lead apes do. But anyway, he goes for the Body Slam, and that does a lot of damage. Takes her down to 2 HP and gets the hacks. But she's able to get her rocks up before the Tauros takes her down. So that's the lead ape down right off the gate. Anyway, she goes into Yuxi, and he switches and goes into Flygon to go for the obvious U-turn. But she's able to set up a Reflect on the switch. So Flygon goes for the U-turn, and it does laughable damage. And he goes into Lantern, and on the switch she goes for the U-turn. So right now, even though she's one poke down, it looks like she is ahead about one turn. The Lantern gets some leftover recovery. He switches and goes into Steelix, predicting the Earthquake. But it's still an Earthquake from, you know, a Dragonite. And that's still going to do respectable damage. The Dragonite is Life Orb if you didn't see. Anyway, she switches and goes into Gallade, predicting the Stone Edge like a pro. And yeah, that doesn't do enough. Even though it got a crit, it still did, you know, laughable damage. But he switches into Gengar. And here, she goes for a sub, predicting the switch, also a very pro move. And here she goes for the Shadow Sneak, which is obviously going to do a nice hefty chunk to the Gengar, because Gengar has crappy defenses. But he goes for the Shadow Ball to break the sub. And yeah, that's definitely going to break the sub, because Gengar is ridiculously powerful and stuff. But he switches into Skarmory to predicting the Shadow Sneak, and that is what she went for, and it obviously did nothing. So she's gonna have to switch if she wants to do anything. But she goes for the Hypnosis, which I wasn't expecting at all. When I was watching the video, I was like, Hypnosis? Wow, that's awesome on a Gallade. So the Skarmory goes to sleep, and it's kind of just snoozing and chilling, and Gallade goes for another substitute. And I'm assuming we know what's coming here, you know, the fighting type move. So that is what she goes for, the Focus Punch. And that's gonna do a pretty decent chunk to the Skarmory. And the reason she went first is because it obviously went for the Roar. So that takes out her Dragonite again. And if he was running Stealth Rock, you know, he'd be doing pretty good damage to her right now. But she switches into Lucario, and then he gets the rocks up. Which is, you know, it's kind of whatever right now. She sets up an Agility because she knows that basically Lucario can take anything Skarmory throws at her. And Skarmory goes for the Roost, because that's what Skarmory does. It roosts like a little bitch every single time. And she goes for the Aerosphere, which is just going to completely obliterate the Skarmory. And it almost takes it out. And the Lucario's Life over there, if you didn't see that. Anyway, he roars her out into her Yuxi. And yeah, Skarmory kind of just sits there and eats lefties and roars people out and roosts. Goodness gracious. Anyway, she U-turns into Lucario, and he gets off a layer of spikes, which was obviously expected from a Skarmory. And she goes for the Hidden Power, and that's going to take down the Skarm. I don't know what kind of Hidden Power that is. Who knows? But he goes back into Gengar and goes for the Destiny Bond, predicting something to take down the Gengar. So that was a good play on his part, and that takes down the Luke, which is unfortunate for her. But yeah, that's a double down, as people like to say. Anyway, she goes into Yuxi, and he goes into Tauros, and Tauros really can't do anything to the Yuxi. He body slams, but I mean, Yuxi's a beast, so it doesn't KO. She gets the Reflect up, and then he goes for a second body slam. It's not going to kill, and then she goes for a Memento, which is a good play. And that's going to completely cripple the Tauros. And then she goes into Metagross, and he switches into sorry, Drew, but Lantern, and she goes for Rock Polish, predicting a switch, which is awesome. And now she goes for Earthquake, which is going to take down the Lantern, obviously, because Metagross has ridiculous attack power. And with a Rock Polish up, it could be a pretty good sweeper. Rock Polish or Agility, it depends on what you choose, you opt to use, it doesn't really matter. Either way, he goes into Steelix, and she goes for another EQ. And that's going to do pretty decent damage as well. And almost takes down the Steelix. The Steelix roars it out and brings out Dragonite, who gets hit by the Stealth Rocks. So I don't really know what kind of team he's running. I mean, he's really trying to shuffle her around right now. And he goes into Flygon, predicting the Earthquake, which is cool. She goes for an Extreme Speed, which is going to do decent damage with the Life Orb and stuff. But it doesn't OA KO, so he goes for the U-turn, so he can switch out, and goes into Tauros. Oh, excuse me. He gets the Intimidate off, she switches and goes into Gallade, predicting the Body Slam. The reason she went into Gallade instead of Metagross is because she was fearing the hacks, which is, decent play, playing safe. So she goes into Metagross here, and he switches and goes into Steelix, and she goes for Rock Polish, predicting the switch, which is cool because now she's back in the sweeper mode. She's looking pretty good to sweep here, as long as nothing ridiculous happens. He switches in back into Flygon, and she goes for the EQ, which was her downfall, because that thing is scarfed, and it's going to take down the Metagross. But yeah, so Metagross goes down. She goes into Dragonite to get off the Extreme Speed and Revenge Kill, even though it's getting raped by the Stealth Rocks. But he switches into Steelix, and she goes for the Dragon Dance, predicting a switch. So yeah. Anyway, it gets Leftovers Recovery. She goes for the EQ, and I believe that takes down the Steelix. EQ coming from a +1 Dragonite is nothing to be played with. So yeah, the Steelix goes down. He goes back into Flygon, and she obviously goes for the Extreme Speed, which is going to take down the Flygon as well. And she's making quite a last stand right now. Only at 19 HP. He takes out the Tauros to get some Intimidate on the Dragonite, even though that's his only poke. And she goes for the Outrage. And yeah, that's going to take the Tauros down with her. She goes down because of Life Orb recoils, so this battle ended in a draw. So good game, Luna. Good game, Juan. Like, comment, subscribe. Till then, Loki out. Peace.